What if I told you the moment a little girl picked up a ringing phone, just because nobody else was around, set off a domino effect that changed not just her mother's future, but the fate of a $1 billion company? Yeah, you heard me right. I'm talking about one of those days where life just flips on its head and you never see it coming. But before you think this is just another sob story about a single mom doing her best, let me promise you, it gets wild, it gets real, and by the time we're done, you might actually believe tiny, accidental choices can rewrite destinies. So, picture this. It's another busy morning at the Brooks Enterprises Cafe, the stainless steel clock on the wall ticking away like it's got nothing better to do, and Emma Hayes, my girl's running around like she's got 3 places to be, dodging steam from the espresso machine, balancing a tray of fancy lattes, and trying to ignore the ache in her feet. If you asked her 5 years ago, she never pictured herself slinging coffee with a degree from Georgetown and a head full of foreign languages: French, German, Spanish, English. Pick your flavor, she speaks it. But that's life, right? Sometimes it laughs in your face, gives you a kid to feed, and tells you to start over from scratch. Underneath the counter, 7-year-old Sophie, all tangled blonde hair and big, curious eyes, is curled up with a battered German storybook. They've got a system. Emma sneaks her in on holidays, tucks her away with snacks and books, tells her, "Keep quiet, baby, just for a little while." And Sophie? She's a pro at being invisible. Except for today. Because today, at exactly 10:43, the phone at the counter starts ringing off the hook and nobody's around to answer. You know how kids are: curiosity, boredom, and a stubborn sense of duty all mixed together. She snatches up the phone, puts on her most grown-up voice, and says, "Brooks Enterprises Cafe. Guten Tag." Because German is just what popped into her head. Now here's the kicker. A deep voice on the other end replies, "Guten Tag. Marcus Schneider from Berlin. I need to speak to Mr. Brooks about the Miller proposal." Without missing a beat, Sophie jots down the details in flawless German, even as her tiny feet barely reach the floor. Right at that moment, Nathan Brooks, the CEO, yeah, the big boss himself, walks in for his mid-morning coffee and just freezes. I mean, how often do you see a little kid handling international business calls like she's running the place? Emma walks back in, sees her daughter talking to the CEO, and nearly drops her tray. Nathan doesn't even blink, just turns to Emma and says, in this voice that means business, "Ms. Hayes, my office. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. And that's it. No explanation. Just 12 words scribbled on a gold-embossed note waiting for her in the break room. That night, in their cramped apartment over a noisy bodega, Emma can't sleep. You know the feeling. Your stomach's a knot, your mind's running wild, imagining every worst-case scenario. Is she about to get fired? Is her daughter in trouble? By 8:55 the next morning, Emma's in a thrift store blouse, sweaty palms clutching Sophie's hand as they ride the elevator up to the top floor. She tries to put on a brave face. "We'll be fine," she whispers, not believing it herself. Nathan's office is like something out of a magazine. Glass walls, city views, not a single thing out of place. He slides Sophie's notes across the table, eyes unreadable. "Your daughter caught things our team missed," he says. Then, quick as a snap, he asks, "What's someone with your resume doing pouring coffee?" And Emma, she could lie, but instead she says, "Life happened. That's all." He nods, hands her a folder, a contract. 3 months. 4 times her salary. Interim cultural liaison for Koenig Tech negotiations. And just when Emma's too stunned to speak, Sophie leans over and whispers, "Say yes, Mama." That's the twist nobody expected. The child who quietly forced her mother to claim a shot at something bigger. A few hours later, Emma's back home, staring at the contract, mind racing. It's the kind of offer that feels too good to be true, maybe even a trap. But the look on Nathan's face said he wasn't handing out favors. He was taking a risk on her, plain and simple. Next day, Emma's back in the building. New role, new world, nerves rattling her bones. The first meeting is a trial by fire. Live translation in front of skeptical German executives, including Dr. Dieter Kruger, a guy infamous for hating American negotiators. He throws shade at Emma right off the bat, questioning her credentials. Emma keeps her cool and fires back. "Want my resume now, or after I translate your next 40 clauses without a mistake?" The guy almost smiles. By the end of the session, She's not just holding her own. She's caught mistakes even the Koenig tech team missed. Back at home, Sophie asks, "You did great, right?" And Emma just laughs, thinking of the years she spent telling her daughter, "You belong, even if you're scared." That week is chaos. She's in and out of meetings, smoothing over cultural misunderstandings, even fixing one key phrase that saves the deal from collapse. By Friday, the rumor mill is spinning, and Rebecca Kane, the marketing director with a tongue sharp enough to cut steel, has already said, she's got guts, but guts don't last here. Then, boom, Emma gets an email, internal review committee, Monday morning. She's sure her secret's out. Maybe they know about her past. Maybe Rebecca's digging for dirt. That night, Emma's fingers hover over the accept offer button, heart thumping. But deep down, there's this quiet voice that says, maybe you really do belong here. So, before the sun comes up, she hits accept and braces for whatever comes next. Monday morning, she walks into the boardroom. Rebecca at the head, Nathan by the window, HR ready with a thick file. They grill Emma on her resume, dig up an old internship with a now-defunct German competitor. Conflict of interest, they ask. Emma, calm as ever, says, nope, nothing sensitive. It's on my resume for a reason. Nathan steps in, drawing a line. Her insights saved this deal, period. And just like that, the meeting ends with more questions than answers. But Emma knows she's got someone in her corner. That night, it rains, and for once, Emma feels alive instead of just surviving. 2 days later, the office buzzes. Emma's now the official director of cultural strategy, a role invented for her, and Rebecca's gone. But Emma's not out celebrating. She's at home, sharing hot chocolate with Sophie and letting her pick a second-hand doll. Later, surrounded by books and mismatched chairs, she's already dreaming up a program to teach languages to underprivileged kids in the Bronx, voices across borders. Her voice, Sophie's, and kids like them, finally heard. Months roll by. The Berlin trip brings its own twist. Thomas Schaefer, Koenig Tech's new negotiator, is Sophie's father, the man who vanished when Emma told him she was pregnant. Across the glass conference table, he finally asks, "She's mine, isn't she?" Emma's answer is icy but honest. She's her own person. But yes, she has your eyes. He offers a weak apology. Emma doesn't need it. She's built a life without him. Back in New York, things start to shift. Emma moves into a townhouse in Harlem. Sophie flourishes at her new dual-language school, and Nathan, well, Nathan's always around. Supportive, patient, sometimes closer than Emma expects, always watching her prove herself again and again. One rainy afternoon, Nathan shows up at their door with funding approval for Emma's education foundation. Sophie beats her German vocab quiz. Emma doesn't cry. She just thanks him, finally realizing she's become exactly who she dreamed of being. A few months later, Sophie stands on a stage, reciting a bilingual poem at the Voices Across Borders Learning Center in the Bronx. The applause is thunderous. Nathan leans over and asks, "Ready for the next chapter?" Emma just squeezes his hand and nods. The program expands. Emma is promoted to VP of Global Affairs, and her partnership with Nathan grows into something more, love rooted in respect, purpose, and the grit of shared struggle. Sophie jokes she's got 2 bosses for parents. Then, one crisp fall morning, Emma's giving a talk at Columbia University. A student asks, "What changed everything for you?" And Emma just smiles. A little girl answered the phone and spoke German. That call didn't just change my life. It created a future none of us could have imagined. So let me turn this over to you. What was your moment? The one that changed everything? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about it. Because sometimes it really is the smallest act, a phone call, a word in another language, that can spark a revolution. If this story hit home, drop a comment, tell me where you're watching from, or share it with someone who still believes in second chances.